That may be the greatest catch I've ever seen.
Receivers, and this time he lost one and it's picked off.
And Brady and Moss hook up great football players, showing why they're great.
He's got it. 20, 10. He's got it. End zone. Touchdown Titans.
Well, good evening, sports fans, and welcome to DFS Advisor, our number 5 show of the year going on. Again, I'm all by myself, waiting on my co-host to get done with his work projects, and he'll be back here soon next week, I'm hoping. And then Bryce is still out with a few college things going on, but we're going to get the group all back together and get some things going on. But we're getting ready to roll into week 10 into the NFL season. We got basketball kicking off. We finally settled up on the World Series, and the Dodgers pulled one out of their hat. Holy cow, that was a good game, man. I was really pulling for the Blue Jays. I thought they had that in the bag, and the Dodgers pulled it off. Hats off to the Dodgers, back to back with the World Series, and so we got that behind us. We got basketball starting up. Hockey's going solid. We got a lot of sports things happening. Fantasy football is in full swing. The NFL is in full swing. Got a lot of injuries again with the injuries with the NFL, making for some really craziness in the fantasy football world. But that's what it's all about. It's how you can adapt, how you can change your lineups, how you can play your waivers, how you can make your trades. It's been fun actually trying to find some of these guys on the waivers that are making a difference and, getting you some fantasy points while these starters are out injured. The Jaden Daniels injury to the Redskins quarterback, boy, that was an ugly injury, man. To take a look at that and see it online, see the replay of the video, that was pretty gruesome. The Redskins been struggling, haven't really lived up to what we thought we would see with them this year, what they did last year. So I'm hoping that, the Redskins and Quinn sits him out just recoup. Get him healthy. The guy, this is something that a lot of people had brought up when Daniels made it to the NFL and saw that he was a running quarterback, saw his size, and had major concerns on his durability. And the NFL's no joke. These guys hit, and Daniels just doesn't have the build of some of these other guys, like your Josh Allens, your bigger quarterbacks that can take some of these hits, Jalen Hurts and these tougher guys that I say tougher. I'm not saying Jordan Daniels is not a tough guy. I'm just saying he's not built to take some of these hits. And, it really looked like he kind of fell wrong. Like he tried to maybe catch himself and his arm was extended and it just hyperextended it and dislocated his elbow. But very gruesome injury. I hope he gets well soon. I hope the Redskins sit him and don't play him. Some other injuries to the quarterback room, for Houston. Looks like Stroud's out with a concussion, probably not going to play this week. Very sketchy. I feel sorry for Stroud. He had a great rookie year. We had great expectations, especially in our drafts with Stroud. He just has struggled. Their wide receiver room is just not all that in a bag of chips. Nico Collins, I don't think, has lived up to his draft ADP by any means. It's just rough sledding down there in Houston. And with them not having him and going to run probably with Mills, not so sure I would be looking for, some quarterback help to replace Stroud and it not be with Mills. I'd try to make some trades or try to do something different to replace Stroud, but I don't think he's going to play. And then the Kyler Murray thing out there with in Phoenix with the Cardinals, guys, I don't know what to think of this injury. I really don't. The guy's not a great leader. I don't think he's happy at the Cardinals. I don't think he's happy, period, as a quarterback in the NFL. I look for them to probably try to move off of Kyler Murray in the offseason. You know, you got Brissett out there. I think he's doing great. He's I don't want to say he's a game manager, but it's probably where everybody's going to put him. But he's doing well. I mean, he's moving the offense. He's following the scheme. He's filling the shoes of someone that's moving the ball. And shit, they beat Dallas. So, there's some quarterback injuries. There's a lot of other injuries going on in the NFL. Some guys coming back this week. We had some buys. It's buy-mageddon going on, and it's really hurting us fantasy guys that are in these guillotines. I know it hurt me this week. Out of my 9 leagues in my guillotine stuff, I lost one, and I'm out of it. But the other ones are, got some good hopes. But these injuries are a big thing in fantasy football. And if you're you're a big betting guy, gambling guy like myself that plays fantasy football for money, it's touch and go. But we're having fun doing it, and that's the main thing. A few things I want to do before we really dig into some of this stuff is I want to thank Inner Circle Entertainment. They are our parent company that bring all of this to you guys week in and week out. Our legal department's been very, very busy with a lot of the troll situation going on that we're having. We recently have stepped out and done our own thing. And obviously there's some folks out there that either aren't happy with it or are just trying to make my life miserable, but that's okay. We're working through it. It's a legal struggle. It's fun to deal with. I'm an older guy, so I'm not really into all the computerization, the trolls, the threats that go on in the media. But I'm learning how that is. And when you put yourself out in the media, you put yourself up for exposure for people that might not like what you say. They might not like what you do. But you know what? I really, really don't care. We're going to keep moving through it. Something I would like to put out there also is for some of you parents and younger viewers of the show, there is some cussing on this show. There is some language on this show, so be aware it's going to be there. We're going to try to deal with that. We can cuss and swear on YouTube. That's not a problem. But we would like our viewers to understand that this is primarily an adult content show. So parents out there that got your kids watching this show, there is some content that will have some language from time to time. But we are adults, and we play fantasy football. We're into sports. We're into a good time, and we're adults here, and hopefully our viewers are more on the adult side. So with that said, we got that out of the way. I want to thank Premier Properties for stepping up and always supporting us. We got some new supporters. We got the old Selective Truck Brokers back in business from Grand Rapids, Michigan. They're out there supporting us. They stepped in. It's a company I used to be a big part of that has started a new branch of Selective Truck Brokers out of Grand Rapids, Michigan. And they're back up and running, and they wanted to show their support and have joined the team. Gulf Coast Pressure Wash has also joined the team and stepped up in a big way this week. They do a lot of pressure washing around, the centralized Florida area, west coast of Florida. They're big. And so we want to thank them. And that looks like that covers all of our sponsors. I don't know how many of you guys jumped out there and caught Sean and Scott with their new Press Box Sudden Death show that they had last night. It was a lot of fun, guys, to see you back on the air, to see that you could step away for the amount of time that you did in the followers that came out to support you last night. It was nice to see. It was a breath of fresh air. It was rewarding for me. You guys are someone that I have really believed in. You guys are great friends, and you're big into fantasy. And I'm really looking forward to your guys' shows going forward. It was a good time last night. So thanks for getting back out there and jamming with us and walking through the things you guys have been walking through. So kudos to you guys. It was a great show. Loved your intro, man. That was fucking badass. It was great. Really liked it. Some things that you can look forward to with DFS Advisor. We are going to start adding some fun, joking entertainment. We're going to start doing some parodies. If you can check out that background back there, the Hatfields and McCoys, that's we're going to kind of go back old school with me. I'm an old truck driver by heart. You can see that with my background tonight. I'm an old biker. You can see that with the icon up there in the top right. So for those that want to play and want to play the game, Jimbo's is a great game player, not only in fantasy football, not only in life, not only in biking, not only in trucking. Jimbo's knows how to play the game. So if y'all want to play the game, play the game. There ain't nobody better at it than me. So I'll win some, I'll lose some, I'll struggle. But I promise, you will know I was there. So with that said, we got that out the way, and we're going to move on into some more fantasy football. We had the big trade deadline happen yesterday. Scott and Sean talked a little bit about this on their show last night. I'm going to talk about the trade that I think was probably the biggest trade in the NFL. It didn't get a whole lot of talk because Kyler Murray seemed to spoil all the trade deadline stuff with his little injury and not going to start this week. To me, he kind of stole the show. But however, the trade that I think for the 2025-2026 season was Sauce Gardner. This trade for the DB cornerback from the Jets to Indianapolis was, to me, by far, leaps and bounds the best trade in the NFL that happened before the trade deadline. Sauce Gardner is a very solid QB or DB cornerback. The Jets let him go for a 2026 first, a 2027 first, and Mitchell, wide receiver from Indianapolis, to the Jets. This trade, guys, I think really solidifies the run that the Indianapolis Colts can make to get to the Super Bowl. You know, their interior defensive line with Buckner, Stewart, they got a great run defense right now. They're solid. They are playing probably the best football in the NFL as far as I'm concerned. By bringing in Sauce Gardner and putting him in that backfield on the defensive side, guys, is going to force a lot of these teams to reevaluate how they're going to play the Indianapolis Colts. So to me, this was the best trade that happened during the trading season for the NFL. I'm excited about it. I think Sauce Gardner's a great kid. I think he's a great DB, and I'm looking for great things for the Indianapolis Colts on that trade. I think this kind of shows that the Jets are kind of making a hard set reset. I think by them, you know, keeping Wilson and not moving him, they let go of some other defensive players also. You know, there was some moves made with the Cowboys. I just think the Jets have decided and were smart enough to realize that they're just not in competing this year. So by letting some of these guys go, they let some pretty big defensive name players go. I think they're on a reset. They're on a tank type of deal, kind of like New Orleans. I had talked a little bit about last week with Shaheed, the wide receiver for the Saints. I was glad to see the home he got. He got moved up there to Seattle. You know, perfect timing with Cooper Kupp hurt, Cooper Kupp's age. I think this was a great fit. I'm a little bummed out on the fantasy side with Horton, but I'm not so sure how much that changes the dynamic in the wide receiver room, only making it better for Sam Darnold in the offense in Seattle. I think Seattle's going to make a great run in the playoffs. I think they're a solid team. I think Darnold has proved his worth, proved that he deserved to get paid by going to Seattle. And with the Shaheed move in that trade, I think was great. I've always liked Shaheed. I just hope he can stay healthy. A little bummed out, like I said, on the Horton side. Their tight end room is picked up. If they could get a little bit better running back than what they got, but between Charbonnet and Walker, I think they'll be fine. I think they're a solid run. I thought they'd make a little bit more play to solidify their offensive line. Was glad to see Shaheed go up there. So that was another trade we talked about last week. Jacoby Myers, that one there going to Jacksonville, I think it helps while Hunter's out. With Brown there, Jacoby's leaps and bounds up above Brown. So, he'll fit in up there, and I think that's going to help Trevor Lawrence. I think that was a good trade for Jacksonville. So I don't really think it hurt the Raiders all that much. I think the Raiders have some young wide receivers up and coming. They picked up Lockett. So really the Lockett move from Tennessee Titans to the Raiders, I think, Jacoby's not going to be missed on the Raiders side. They had one hell of a game. The Raiders had a great game this week. And, of course, they're featured this week on Thursday Night Football against the Denver Broncos. I think these two teams on Thursday night is going to be a good game. Brock Bowers is back. He dominated for you fantasy owners that got Brock and didn't waste any time putting him in your lineups because I think the dude snapped off for like 40-some fantasy points. So I think, with their other tight end they got out there with Myers, I think Myers can kind of play the tight end a little more, free Bowers up and play maybe a little bit more slot. So the Jacoby trade, I don't think the Raiders miss a beat. I wish Jenny would pick up the pace. I've been way off on my projections as him as a rookie running back. A little let down by it, but I think over time Jenny will get his footing and be a solid running back for the Raiders. He just needs to pick up the explosive plays, from us football degenerates that play fantasy. I think we were hoping for a little bit more than what we're seeing out of Jenny, but it's all good in the hood. We'll see how it ends up. And I think he's doing good out there. So another injury I want to tap on is the Kraft ACL knee with Green Bay. Kind of a bummer. I really think, Scott and Sean, you guys touched on this last night, and I won't spend a whole lot of time on it, but Kraft is a big part of the Green Bay offense. Musgrave will definitely fill in. Musgrave was kind of the lead guy before Kraft kind of really went off, so Musgrave's nobody to slouch at. He's a good tight end, and he's got good hands. He's a good receiving tight end. So I don't look for Green Bay to really miss out too much by this. They kept Musgrave in the mix, and good thing for them that they did. So Kraft going on IR is definitely going to be felt by Green Bay, but I think they'll be okay. Some of the other little wide receiver injuries, of course, we knew about the Cooper Kupp thing. Booty for New England. I had a lot of stock in Booty. I'd picked him up when he was kind of going off. Scored some good fantasy weeks out of him. He kind of cost me in some leagues this week, so that was kind of a bad loss. But I think there'll be they got enough wide receiver room there in New England that Booty's hammy won't be too much. Of course, we got the Puka ribs deal with the Rams. Puka's a tough dude. I think he'll play through it. It's really a shame to see, and one of the things I'm kind of disappointed in the NFL these days is a goddamn blue tent. I'm so sick of seeing the blue tent, and I'm so sick of seeing these replay videos of a referee taking somebody out of the game because somebody upstairs thinks somebody fell the wrong goddamn way. So I'm a little irritated with the way the NFL handles these injuries. Again, guys, I'm 58, 59 years old. I'm used to the Jack Ham days when you bleed and you break bones and you play through the shit, and that's what football was. Today's football, to me, is pussified. It's become a pussified sport in the way that the NFL, the referees, the Players Association, coaches, trainers, all protect these guys. These guys get paid millions of dollars to play football. And to me, football is about playing hurt. Football is about injuries. Football is about how tough you are. And from an old guy standpoint, it's frustrating that some of these injuries, I get it. You know, I understand concussions need to be controlled. I understand that brain injuries are rough. But goddamn, guys, we're playing football. We're not playing cards. And so I would really like to see some of these guys toughen up. I'm sick of all the outside saying you're hurt. You can't go back in the game. Okay, so it's frustrating. I think it takes away from what football was meant to be, old school football. But anyways, it is what it is. It's today's NFL. You got McLaurin still out with a quad. I'm so sick of hearing about him and his injury. This Ricky Purcell, however you want to pronounce his name, at the 49ers with his knee. I'm sick of the 49ers wide receiver room. I'm just sick of these nagging injuries. Either play football or go on IR. The Bucs. Let's talk some Bucs injuries and what's going on down here in Tampa, Florida. You guys all know I'm a big Bucs fan. I was talking to a friend of mine today. Bucky Irving, Chris Godwin were nowhere to be seen at practice. Okay, guys. So now coming off a bye this week, the Bucs are back in business, right? Bucky Irvin's been out how long? And he wasn't at practice this week. You can go ahead and look at that 15-16 number you're seeing on your fantasy projections for him. But if you want Jimbo's advice, which some of you take it or leave it, could really care less. I'm not playing Bucky Irving this week, guys. His projection can read 15-16 on your projection. I'd definitely be putting White in your lineup if you got him. Chris Godwin, I wouldn't count on that at all. The Bucky Irving thing, I think, is just a big puff of smoke. I don't think he's playing this week. Hassan Reddick from on the defensive side of the Bucs, another big letdown. I was hoping this guy was going to be our defense, help give us some pass rush. This guy's still playing around with his leg injuries. One nice thing on the offensive line, Luke Gedeke was at practice, and he was limited, but yet he's a tough dude, and he plays offense like he should be playing defense. So I'm excited for Luke Gedeke to be back in the lineup on the offensive tackle. Levante David was back as a full prospect. He practiced in full. So if the Bucs play anything like they did in week 8, I'm not worried about their week 10. So I look for them to be solid. Mbuka's healthy. He's back full strength. And you got Tez, the rookie Wonderland kid out there taking the place of Mike Evans. I think they're going to be just fine going forward. I would hope that they run the football a little bit more. I hope White gets a little bit more touches than he's getting. I'd like to see him get Tuck in the mix. I think Tucker's a hell of a running back, but I think he's one of those guys that needs volume. He needs things to do. He needs this 4 or 5 plays a game ain't getting it with Tuck. I think Tuck needs to be in the scheme a little bit more heavy, if you will. So I'm going to move on into my player of the week. There was a lot of guys this week that deserved player of the week. But, guys, I'm telling you what, Drake London for the Atlanta Falcons was my Week 9 player of the week. This guy played with violence. He played with authority. He played with an attitude. This dude was catching the football everywhere. He was making tough catches everywhere. He was making red zone plays. He was making plays in the end zone. I mean, this guy played out of his mind. You know, he had 9 receptions, 119 yards, 3 TDs, and 38.80 fantasy points. What more you want on a receiver? And guess what? In one of my leagues, I traded him for Caleb Williams. I forget what that trade was. It was in a league that it was in a Debbie league where I got a huge bench. I got lots of receivers. I'm way weak on quarterback. It was it was one of my damn heartfelt orphan leagues I took on in a Debbie league. But I traded London away for Caleb Williams. Caleb didn't let me down in that league. He ended up with like 40-some points in that league. So it was kind of a wash for me, but going into the future, it was a better move for me to get a good quarterback, and I'm hoping good things out of Caleb Williams. But my player of the week in week 9 was definitely Drake London. So it's great to see, you know, I'm a Bucs fan, so it's hard for me to talk good about Atlanta. But with that said, with Penix in there throwing the ball, it's really weird to watch Penix throw the football. Anybody else got this feeling about he's really unorthodox the way his release is with his football? To me, it's slash sidearm slash, I don't know, but it's not like an over-the-top throw. And I'm not so sure how I feel about Penix at this point. I mean, I'd like to see him run the football a little bit harder than he does, but man, I kind of really sit back when he's in the pocket and I'm like, ooh, is he going to make that throw? Ooh. And then when you watch it come out, it's like, man, that was weird. It just looks weird the way he throws the football to me. But anyways, it didn't look weird to Drake London. The dude scored. The dude made some fantasy points. And for us degenerates that play fantasy, it's all about that. So, and here I did all this talk and I had slides for Drake London. There he is. Boom, boom. It all looks good. I didn't do it, but who cares? But what I am going to do is I'm going to introduce a little bit about where we're going with this. It's going to be a parody. Can we all say parody together? Everybody say it together. 1, 2, 3. Parody. We all know what a parody is, right? So I'm not trying to hurt nobody. I'm not trying to do anything but have some fun. So we are working on putting a parody together, guys. And guess who I picked for my parody? Yeah, you got it. So there it is. Dollsville is going to be our first #1 featured parody that we're going to do. And we're going to do this on the Wednesday night show just before Thanksgiving. It's going to be a live skit, y'all. We're going to have live skit, just like Saturday Night Live. You know, when you were sitting back with a bong in your hand in your teenage days and you were hitting a bong watching Saturday Night Live? That's what this is meant for. It's meant for you to come on the show, get in the chat room, and do your thing. Come in buzzed up. I don't care. But we're going to have fun with this. It's not meant to hurt nobody. It's not meant to do anything but have fun. So, Dollsville. Check that out. That's a pretty cool looking logo, isn't it? Wow. Dollsville. Yep. So, Dollsville is going to be our featured parody the weekend of Thanksgiving. We're going to have this guy right here. Presidome is going to be on there. El Presidome is going to be on. Live interview with this guy. Check this out. You guys don't know what I went through to try to get a live interview with this guy. This dude's from California, all the way out there on the West Coast. I mean, I had to go through 2 or 3 time zones to get to this dude. Get him to answer his phone, get him to answer his chat. But anyways, we got it locked in. We got a great skit scheduled. This dude is going to be on the show. So that's going to be a great interview. We're looking forward to it. And check this out. We even have Sierra and Sorry for Kissing Ass is going to be on the show too. So these guys got their own podcast. They do great stuff out there on the West Coast and East Coast together. They have a great podcast just like this one, just like Sean and Scott. We all got great podcasts. We love each other. And we're just out there enjoying fantasy football. But we're going to have them on the show too. We got some great skit actors that are going to go on. We're going to see Sierra and Sorry for Kissing Ass is going to be on the show too. So we're looking forward to that. You guys don't miss that show. It's going to be a fun parody. We're going to joke. We're going to have fun, and we're going to do it. So look forward to that, huh? All right, little Hatfield, what's that say in the background? Little Hatfields and McCoy action going on. So, all right, so enough of that nonsense, but it is fun. I don't know if you guys watch Bubba and the Love Sponge, but Bubba's kind of a friend of mine, actually, down here in Tampa, Florida. He's still live on the air down here, and we were at a Harley dealership down in St. Pete, and we were sitting there the other day, and I was telling him about my podcast. And he says, dude, you ever done any parodies? And I said, no, but you're probably going to tell me why I should. And sure enough, he talked me into it. So we're looking forward to the parodies. They're going to be fun. They're going to be playful. And, yeah, it's going to be a good time. So we're looking forward to that. All right. So let's move on into, let's do a little NASCAR. All right. So check this out. They went out to they did the Martinsville, Denny Hamlin. We had Kyle Larson. We had William Byron. We had Chase Briscoe. All these dudes going out to Phoenix, Arizona this week to do the NASCAR championship. Denny Hamlin and Larson kind of got into it throughout, whatever. This dude came up on top, won the championship. Hats off to Rick Hendrick there on the right. I've had some NASCAR roots, and Rick Hendrick has a great business, Jeff Gordon, Jimmy Johnson, all these guys that have run for him. And to see Kyle Larson win, he's a winner. He's got a great pedigree. This guy races probably more than anybody in the world. So Kyle Larson is your 2025-26 NASCAR champion, and he's enjoying that. And check this out. Another Rick Hendrick driver. And what's cool about this, guys, I don't know if you know a whole lot about NASCAR, but Bill Elliott, Chase's old man, used to win most popular driver just about every year. I mean, until Dale Jr. kind of doing good, and when Jr., got, making and winning, he kind of, as Bill Elliott was stepping out, Dale Earnhardt Jr. kind of stole some of that most popular driver stuff for a while. But Chase Elliott, this kid is been brought up right. He's got great roots. He's got great parents, and he's following right along in Bill's footsteps. And Chase Elliott wins most popular driver of the year. So I'm happy for him. He's a good race car driver, great NASCAR guy, and happy to see him win that award. So that's kind of a cool deal for me. So in chat, let's go ahead and check out our chat room, guys. We got some people in chat. We got Lisa out there. The wife is out there. I know she's on her way to work tonight. So thanks for listening while you're driving. Make sure you watch the road, my dear. We got Scotty Fitzgerald. He's out there. Says, can't wait to see the parodies. I bet you can't. And then we got Kyle out there. Kyle says, let's go, Jimbo. That's cool to see. Kyle from Grand Rapids, Michigan is in the chat room tonight. We got some other guys out there. We got Benny. Benny's out there. He's sending me some text room stuff. And, so it's kind of good to see you guys out there in chat. Guys, anytime you want to get in chat, like and subscribe. It's a cool deal for us. I really don't know how it works. I really don't. Anytime you see somebody on YouTube, they're always talking, like and subscribe, like and subscribe. I couldn't tell you what it does for me, doesn't do for me. Don't give a shit what it does, because I just don't care. But anyways, do it, because everybody else says you should do it. So, yeah, there you go. All right, let's do a little bit of this. Let's check these guys out. All right, here's your top 5 running backs in the NFL right now. Jonathan Taylor's kicking ass, taking names. James Cook, which I never liked James Cook. Scotty Fitzgerald, I get it. You've been on me. I am now a believer. James Cook. I've watched a little bit more James Cook, and I know, Sean, you're a big Bills fan. All right, you guys win. He's a good running back. I like watching him. He scored me some fantasy points, and actually this year I picked up James Cook in a lot of leagues, so that's been a good deal. Now, this next one, check this out. This is kind of ironic to see these two back-to-back. All right, you got Dodal and you got Javonte Williams right there. Okay, Williams comes from getting his nuts cut out in Denver and being told you're a piece of shit, we don't want you here, and they let him go to Dallas in place of Dodal, who gets traded or picked up in free agency, whatever you want to call it, and goes to the Panthers, has to wait for Hubbard to have an injury to show what he's worth. When he already proved what he was worth while he was in Dallas, this guy is a great running back, guys. He can run the football. If you don't have him, trade for him, get him. He is now the number one running back in Charlotte. Okay, he is the Panthers' number one running back. Hubbard might as well sit back with a cocktail, put an umbrella in it, and watch this kid because he is way better running back than Hubbard by far. So I just thought it was ironic when I pulled up this list. I saw Dodal and I saw Javonte Williams back-to-back yardage-wise. Kudos to both of them because I liked Williams when he was in Denver. I thought he should have been the running back in Denver, but for some reason, him and Sean Payton don't like each other. That's why he's not in Denver. But the Cowboys finally got somebody that can run the football, and this guy's getting it done. J.K. Dobbins, on the other hand, is one of the top running backs in Denver, along with Harvey. Harvey has been kicking ass and taking names, the rookie out there. I still look for this to be a split backfield for a little while, guys. It's going to take inevitably will probably happen. Dobbins will probably have an injury like he always does, and then Harvey will take over, and it'll be cut and dry then. Until then, Sean Payton likes Dobbins. I think you'll see still a split backfield for a while. Harvey's definitely the long-term in your dynasty to be looking for. If you can get them both, and then you got your handcuff, you're looking good. But to me, how many people outside of Taylor and Cook thought this would be a top 5 at this point of the season? Okay, seriously. So anyways, that's my take on that. I got a lot of stock in Jonathan Taylor, thank God. So we're looking forward to that in fantasy football. All right, this was another interesting thing that I picked up on this week. This is kind of the playoff picture happening as of week 10. Doesn't mean it's going to happen. It's not a hot take for Jimbo's. It's one of the talking heads out there giving his opinion. Actually, I think this is one of the guys out of Tampa put this out. But this is a playoff picture as it stands kind of like right now. And if you look that over, you can't argue with the Indy thing. You really can't argue with the Philly thing. The Bills, I think, should be a little bit higher than that seed. Denver and the Chargers, they're all battling that out there on the West Coast. That's about mid-run. The Jacksonville, New England thing, New England guys, I don't know what it is, whether it's the coaching that I'm attracted to at New England or it's Drake May. But because their running game really ain't been all that. But their quarterback play has been great. Their coaching has been phenomenal. They have now got a culture going on in New England. I really think New England's going to pick up the pace. So I think that's fair down there. The Rams in Green Bay with their tie is going to throw things off in all these seedings with that tie in there. The Rams, okay, check this out. I got into a great big chat room. This dude I got Stafford on one of my fantasy teams, and this guy's looking for a quarterback, and I got like 5. And Jimbo's always got tons of quarterbacks. So this guy wanted Stafford, and I said, okay, I'll trade him to you, but I want Achane. He's like, oh my God, he makes this big thing out to be that I'm trying to rape him. And what's Stafford do? Go out and put up 35 points this week. So I kind of bring it up to the guy. I said, well, Achane must not have been really a bad trade offer with Stafford because you got no quarterback. Achane gave you maybe 12, 14, 15, 16 points, and Stafford would have got you 34 plus this next week. Your next quarterback that you do have is on a bye, and now you don't have a quarterback at all to play in week 10. and he got all pissed off, and, he'll probably try to, hit the report button too on YouTube and probably, do like half the other people do out there that don't like Jimbos. But anyways, Stafford, let's get back to Stafford. This guy is an old guy like me, not as old as me, but he's an old quarterback per se. And he is kicking ass and taking names just like Joe Flacco is, just like Aaron Rodgers is. These guys are solid quarterbacks that we all got in drafts way down the line from what the ADP had these guys at, right? Sean and I were talking one day during draft season in the offseason, and he's like, dude, I think I'm just going to sit back and take Stafford. I'm just going to sit back and take Stafford. I'm just going to sit back and take Stafford. Well, guess what? Stafford's putting out more points than Jaden Daniels. He's putting out more points than Baker Mayfield. He's putting out more points than a lot of quarterbacks that were taken in round one. Where's that? There's the camera. Round one. So Stafford, if anybody can trade for Stafford, I would trade for him while he's still healthy. He still doesn't have a back problem. He still doesn't have, a problem to where he's moving around. He's healthy right now. Whether it's Puka Nacua, whether it's Devontae Adams, it don't matter who it is, the guy's going to throw him the football. So I could give a shit less who the wide receiver is for the LA Rams. Matthew Stafford's going to throw them the football. It don't matter who it is, whether it's Puka Nacua, whether it was Cooper Kupp, whether it was Higbee, whether it is Kyrie Williams out of the backfield, whether it is Corum out of the backfield. Matthew Stafford is going to score you consistency fantasy points every week, week in and week out. So if you have a chance to pick up him, trade for him, I would go out and get Matthew Stafford. All right, so now we got what? Seattle and San Francisco. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and give props. Whether you want to give them to Kyle Shanahan or you want to give them to whoever you want to give them to out there in San Francisco, what you want to call it, luck, you want to call it CMC, because you want to, Kittle ain't really done too much even after his son's been back. But Mac Jones, let's talk about Mac Jones. All right, that's who San Francisco could have had Mac Jones back when they did the Lance experiment that didn't work, right? Okay, so Mac Jones has been toting the bag out there and doing the things. Seattle is in this run to make the playoffs. So you got to throw your hat off to Mac Jones, because call him a game manager, call him what you want. He is still getting it done in San Francisco. I agree, CMC is this team. If CMC goes down, you could write San Francisco off as far as I'm concerned. Okay, so it is definitely McCaffrey that's keeping the team together with a quarterback. Mac Jones is doing a great job with Purdy out. Don't know what – I haven't really heard much on Purdy. I think they're kind of taking it as, okay, if Mac Jones can go ahead and play the game like he's playing and we're winning, let's just keep doing it and give Purdy as much time. We already paid the guy, so overpaid the guy. Let's just let him get healthy. So, but I don't think it's going to matter much, because this next team is all that in my bag of chips. The Seattle Seahawks, I do believe, are a great football team, and I do think they are going to make a strong run to the Super Bowl. So whoever is in Seattle's way, they have a great wide receiver room, average running back room. I'm going to go ahead and put Darnold up there in the top 5-6 quarterbacks. I think he's doing a phenomenal job. So, and then you got my Bucks and you got the Detroit Lions. Now, the Detroit Lions, Kyle, I'm sorry, Kyle, I know you're in chat and you're going to roast me, but the Detroit Lions did not play good football last week, okay? They just did not. The Vikings made pretty good work of the Detroit Lions. Now, Hutch had a great game. Well, he should have a great game because he just got paid, and that kid deserves to get paid, and I'm glad to see he stayed in Detroit, because he is a great defensive end. Will probably be one of the best before it's all over. So the Detroit Lions are good. That's going to be a tough division. I mean, we all knew it was going to be a tough division. The Bears have stepped up. They played good football this last week. Now their defense kind of got real harebrained sketchy there towards the end of the game, but they still pulled off and are playing better football than what they have played. So, Williams is doing good. how I see that division ending up, it's definitely, I believe, going to come down to the Bears and the Lions. I just don't think the Vikings got the long-term. They're struggling at running back. I mean, I love Aaron Jones. He's banged up. He's getting old. And they're just struggling in the running game. I still think their rookie quarterback, I'm calling him a rookie because, he ain't really played a lot. Now, he had a great game. He had a really good game. It's kind of a bummer because I picked him up in I got him off of waivers in a guillotine league and only got the 1 week out of him, but Stroud got hurt and I ended up getting kicked out of that one. But anyways, long story short, Detroit will be there. They're going to be there. They're going to continue to win. Campbell's going to get it figured out. He always does. The Bucks. Let's talk about the Bucks. Is their record legit? Is it not legit? Is it Baker Mayfield? Is it luck? What's going on in Tampa? The thing is with Tampa Bay, guys, is Tampa Bay is deep. Every position. I don't care what position you want to talk about with Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They are deep. And that's the only reason, outside of Baker Mayfield staying healthy and not getting hurt, that they are winning is because they're deep and they have a great culture. Todd Bowles has put that team together and they're playing strong football. Coming off this bye, did they gain anything? Did they lose anything? Well, we got a lot of bad news about McMillan finding the broken bones in his neck. I don't think you're going to see McMillan make it back this year. There's a lot of different stories flying around in Tampa Bay about McMillan. I don't think he'll be back. I think they wait till next year on him. I think Tez is fine. I think Mbuka is fine. I'm not so sure where Mike's going to fall in it. I don't think it's really going to matter. So I think what is going to matter with the Buccaneers' success is where Bucky Irving ends up. So where Bucky Irving ends up, I think, is where the Bucs end up. So I think that White can get them by for a while. White's a great running back. I love him. Tucker's a great running back. But he's not – neither one of those two are as explosive as Bucky. So the big plays, the chunk plays, it's going to be the grinded out old school football for the Buccaneers to make it. Do I think they got a good chance of making it? Yes, I do. Do I think they'll be there at the end? Yes, I do. Are they going to be able to get through Philadelphia and some of them guys? It's going to be a tough road to hoe without Bucky Irving. That's my take on that. So, all right. So we got that out of the way. All right. Let's I'm going to go ahead and attempt it, even though my co-host's not here, Jay. This is Jay's expertise. I'm not going to dive deep into college football because I by no means have the experience that Jay does. Jay, we miss you when it comes to college football and your analysis and your expertise and how you are on air about college football. You always got the right things to say. But one thing I will say that I did say last week is I was worried about the Miami Hurricanes. And guess what, guys? They dropped from 9th all the way down here to what is that? 18th, 19th, somewhere down there. Regardless, the Miami Hurricanes, I don't know, Jay. I really don't know about your Hurricanes. But anyways, they are falling. I was hoping Vandy would have done a little bit better job than they did. They gave a good run out this week. It was good to see them play against Texas. It was a great game. I was looking for a little bit more action out of Vandy, but still in all where Vandy's at, I'm happy with that. Scotty, your Michigan Wolverines, they better get their poop in a group if they want to make a run in this bracket, which, we're going to talk a little bit about this bracket and what you guys think about this bracket for this upcoming year. But teams that we still should be talking about are the Ohio State Buckeyes. They are leaps and bounds above everybody else, guys. I'm sorry, but the guys on Ohio State look like they are NFL players. They are playing NFL-style football. And I do think Sayin is the top runner in the Heisman. The quarterback for the Ohio State Bucks, I think, is probably walking away with a Heisman. But we'll see in the next few months on that. Georgia's playing good football. I will say this, with the new coach at the Gators, they gave them a good run. I mean, they stayed in the game more than what I thought the Gators were going to. Georgia ended up winning that game right there at the end. Good, strong play by them. Oregon obviously is still there. Texas Tech, that spot right there at number 8, that Texas Tech spot, I mean, let's look at who's right underneath them, guys. That's some good college football teams right underneath Texas Tech. I mean, you got Oregon right there. You got Notre Dame right there. You got Texas right there. You got my Oklahoma Sooners right there. So I'm proud of Texas Tech. They're playing good football. Glad to see them in that spot. Another downer for me is to see Washington way down there at the bottom, and Tennessee way down there at the bottom. I had great expectations for Tennessee. I still think Tennessee's got some great Devy players that I utilize in my fantasy leagues. Missouri, same thing. They got a great running back core. They're great running backs to watch. I just think some of these teams are really falling by the wayside. I feel bad for the quarterback at USC. I just don't think USC is going to have enough in the tank to get them up where they need to be for the brackets. So we'll touch more on that when Jay gets back next week. But like always, we like to talk a little bit of college football too. All right, so we got that out of the way. And this is a look at, while we were still here, I don't know how this is going to work with the old BCS and in the bracket they're doing now. But this is kind of what they got out there on how this bracket's going to play out. I don't know. I don't know enough about college football on how they're going to run this bracket. It'll be interesting to see. It's just like I don't understand how we're running these triathlons and this gauntlet shit we're doing. I mean, here I thought, and bad for me because I guess I didn't read the rules, but I thought in our gauntlet triathlon / guillotine weeks that it was based off accumulative points. Lowest points would be out during the guillotine, but it wasn't. It's weekly. And if you talk to all your guillotine guys, big guillotine guys, they say, oh, no, it's weekly. It's weekly. Well, then what the hell are we playing redraft for all these last 9 weeks? To do what? To gain points that mean nothing. So to me, it should have been in the triathlon and in the gauntlet. It should have been the accumulative bottom points should have been the one to get cut. Because why are we playing 9 weeks of redraft that means literally nothing? Anyways, enough of that. We'll do a parody on that probably someday too. Anyways, so back to this bracket. Check this out. Notre Dame. You guys think that's where they should be? I don't know. I mean, outside of love, I don't really think Notre Dame's that good of a football team. I think I'd kind of change that out with Georgia or Indiana, but I don't really understand how this bracket's working that they're working through. And I know it's way early for bracketry for college football, but that's what they're going to do. And that's how they're going to get their champion is out of this bracket. So we'll see how it all plays out. All right, let's talk about this. This is another cool deal. All right. So I'm not a great big basketball fan. I have dabbled this year in fantasy basketball. And to be honest with you guys, I'm having a good time with it. I never really watched a lot of NBA basketball, all long season. Because to me, it's kind of like baseball, way too many games to hold my pea-brain interest. However, I am starting to pick up on it, and I am having some fun with it, especially with some of the younger players. But there was a conversation I overheard at a restaurant the other night, and this dude, he was coming back from the buffet thing, and him and this dude were sitting there talking, and our table was kind of next to the buffet, so I kind of overheard it. They were talking about Jordan in which one of these two dudes is better. Is it LeBron? Is it Jordan? Which one of these two deserves to be the man? If you pull up these guys' stats, it's really not fair without saying, okay, we're going to take LeBron's stats and take away 22 seasons. This dude been playing NBA basketball for 22 years. 22 seasons. All right. He came into the league in 2003. Jordan left the league in 2003. Jordan played for 15 seasons. I'd love to see the stats, and I probably should have did my homework and found out what LeBron's stats were at 15 years, because his stats compared to Jordan's are just off the charts. I mean, really, if you're going to base who's better just off of stats, you got to give it to LeBron. But to me, you can't do that. You got to throw in the championships. You got to throw in all the things that Jordan did and LeBron did, and really look at it, under a microscope. Because if you look at it from abroad, now one thing that did stick out to me was the amount of steals. Now, Jordan was a little bit more of an aggressive player, I think, than LeBron. I think he played a little bit stronger defense. So if you look at Jordan's defensive stats, they're a little bit better, I think, than LeBron's. If you look at the amount of rebounds that Jordan had compared to LeBron, obviously, okay, so for 15 years on the rebound side, Jordan had 6,672 rebounds. LeBron had 11,731. So let's take a few years off of that because he's been playing 22 years. I still think maybe Jordan, what this stuck out in these stats is I think Jordan was probably a little bit better rebounder. The points wise is another one that would be real close if you shorten the years of LeBron. I think would be a lot closer. But the average points per game is pretty much even to me. I don't think the 3-point thing was as big a deal back in the day as it is now. So I got to give that to Jordan too. Jordan averaged 30 points. LeBron averaged 27. I think Jordan as a player was a little more healthier. And then if you want to go back to the hardware and you want to base it all about the hardware, Jordan 6 ships and LeBron 4. So if you look at, to me, the supporting casts around these players throughout their careers, I guess because I'm old school, I'm going to say Jordan was a better basketball player than LeBron. That's my take. Take it or leave it. But y'all can talk about it. You can throw it out there in chat, make conversation about it. It got kind of brought up in a unique situation, so I thought I'd throw it on the show. But I'm going to pick Jordan over LeBron on that one. So, all right, what else we got going on? Okay, here's another big disappointing thing. Let's talk a little bit about the Thursday night football game tomorrow. All right, so you got the Raiders coming off a good game. You got the Broncos staying steady. Broncos are 7-2. The Raiders suck at 2-6. I get it. Jacoby got traded. He's gone to Jacksonville. Bowers is back with a vengeance. Jenny's average as far as I'm concerned. Geno sucked before this week. I sat him in I don't know how many leagues, and I'm like, typical fantasy bullshit. He goes off. 34-some fantasy points. All right, so we got Mims is out for Denver. Nix has been solid. Sutton's been okay. Franklin has picked up the pace. Ingram absolutely sucks. And this is something that when I was drafting this year and I saw Ingram get traded or picked up, free agency to Denver, I was excited, okay, because I looked at how much that Peyton, the coach out there, how much he enjoyed his tight ends. And I thought, you know what, this is a good landing spot for Ingram. I really think I'm going to pick him up. I had big, high hopes for Ingram, and he has totally let me down. This dude had 3 targets, 0 receptions, 0 yards, and I think 0 goddamn fantasy points this week. I am done with Evan Ingram. I'm dropping him at this point. To me, he's no good. He's no good as a tight end. You might as well pick up an up-and-coming rookie and take your chances with that versus Evan Ingram. So if the Broncos are going to do anything with the Raiders, I think they're pretty even offensively. I think where the big difference comes is the defense. I mean, outside of Max Crosby is a game wrecker, like we know, but he's one man. In the Broncos, they have one of the best defenses in the NFL. So my take on this, Harvey's up and coming. Harvey's doing a great job at running back for the Broncos. And you got the Dobbins play there. I don't think Jenny, unless he goes off and has some astronomical game, which I do not think he'll do against the Denver Broncos defense, I look for the Denver Broncos to win this game by 9 points. So if you want to go ahead and throw, a hot take out there, we can do that. We can go ahead and do that. Jimbo's hot take for this week, Denver wins by 9 points. And I guess I'll go ahead and say, for fun, I think it's a fair hot take. I would say Harvey and Dobbins go off for more yards than Jenny. I think their combined yardage will be more than Jenny's. And I think that's fair because Jenny was supposed to be this magnificent running back that even I was one in the beginning of the season, had big high hopes for. That's just not coming through. But so I think it'll be a good game to watch. I think Crosby will make, a hard day for Nix. He'll be in his face throughout the game. Nix is going to have to earn his money and play good football. He's going to have to throw the football downfield. Sutton's going to have a good game. Franklin has been stepping up. I have no problem with Franklin. I don't think the Mims situation, Bryant's back there. I think Denver wins this game by 9. That's my take on that. So, all righty. So we did all that. We got some updates for you before we get out of here. Our Tailgater Deluxe. We talked about it. It's our charity. It's gone off. We've had a good time with it. It's unique when you can take something that you enjoy and share it with others that are not so fortunate. And, a lot of people can say what they want to say about me. You can say I'm a prick. You can say, yeah, I got an attitude, this or that. But one thing Jimbo's does have is a really big heart. And those that know me the best will tell you that. And what I'm trying to do with this charity, guys, is share football, share sports, share food, share an atmosphere with people that don't get the opportunity to get outside of their home. For Christ's sake, don't even know how to operate their TV clicker. These are folks that are in their late 70s, late 80s, early 90s that love sports. My wife kind of brought this home to me one night after work because she's a caregiver for old people on hospice and dying people and, people with cancer, just dementia patients, old people that don't have nobody to take care of them, and they pay to have someone come help take care of them. And some of these guys and gals are sports lovers, man. I mean, I was sitting down talking to this old boy, and he is a baseball fan from way back. And he just doesn't even know how to operate his TV to watch it. And so, Lisa kind of been over there taking care of this guy and has helped him out on his TV, has sat down and enjoyed sports with him. My wife, it's so funny because back in the day, I'd be watching football on the weekend on a Sunday or a Saturday, and my wife would just find something else to do. Not now. I come home from work on a Monday night or a Thursday night, and I'm giving my wife a kiss saying, baby, I got to go to bed. I'm tired. She's saying, you're not going to stay up and watch the Redskins with me? You're not going to stay up and watch football? And I'll be a son of a bitch. I'll be laying in bed, and like an hour later, I'll hear this, woo, going on. She's out here cheering for the Redskins the other night, or else she's out here booing. Oh, my God, that was a bad call. Oh, my God, that wasn't intentional grounding. My wife knows sports, man, and there ain't nothing cooler than having a wife that loves sports when you are a degenerate football fan like me. And to see my wife enjoy sports and enjoy football and have that in a marriage is cool. But what's even cooler than that is that she's taking it to some of these old people, some of these teenager kids that are walking around on crutches because they can't walk because they're crippled from a disease. And what we're doing with this Tailgater Deluxe is probably going to be one of my most things that I'm going to put all my efforts in, is taking football. I'm going to take fantasy football to some of these people, and we're going to take TVs. We're going to take food. We're going to tailgate with them at their house, in their driveways. We're going to have fun with it. And so far it's been great. We're raising money. Some of our sponsors have stepped up to help us get our food trailer in line to do it. Getting some of the TVs, wired and done. And we're going to have a good time with it. So I'm really excited about Tailgaters Deluxe. Anybody in the Florida area that thinks it would be something they'd want to do for a loved one or a parent or a grandma or a grandpa, get with us. And, I don't give a shit if it's 100 miles. Shit, I just drove 3,000 miles to take a friend a goddamn tractor. So if you live in Georgia, I don't care. We'll tailgate up there. We'll come up there and have a good time. And so we're looking forward to that. Once again, before I step out, I want to really thank Steve and Nikki with Premier Properties. Thanks for your legal team, guys. You guys have been lifesavers this week. Big shout out to Bryce. Without Bryce, guys, this show would be a real rough road to hoe. He's the one navigating this so that I can come on here and be me and enjoy football and enjoy you guys. And Bryce, thank you so much. I know it's rough dealing with all these trolls and all these haters and people that are making our life miserable right now. But then go ahead and do that. If that's what gets their rocks off, have fun with it. YouTube knows who it is. And the proper channels will deal with it. And you're not going to keep me off the air. I promise you that. One way or the other, this show will air. And you can hack. You can do all the things that y'all want to do and think you're having fun with it. But it's not going to stop me. And it's not going to stop Bryce. And it's not going to stop DFS Advisor from bringing you guys what we love to do. And you can watch a show or not watch a show, but you want to know what? We have fun bringing it to you, whether you watch it or you don't. So I hope everybody watches it. I hope everybody enjoys it. And y'all have a good week. Enjoy your Thursday night football. Don't forget next Tuesday night to tune in to the Press Box with Sean and Scott. Sudden Death Fantasy Sports. Get involved in that. Them guys are doing a great job. They rocked it out last night. They had a great following, and we're looking forward to chiming in with them, hoping to be a guest on their show, hoping that someday they want to be a guest on ours. But anyways, right now, this is the cards we're all dealt. We're having fun with it, and we're excited about it. And y'all have a great week. Love you guys. We're going to check out. See you.